Nepotism. We are hearing this word every day. But what exactly is nepotism? Today, Shurrent will tell you. I am your host Vinayaka Sharma and today we are going to throw light on nepotism. So keep watching this video to know more about it. So what exactly nepotism is? Nepotism is a practice of those who are in power or position that favor their own relatives in situations like job appointments. This can be seen in various fields like business, politics, etc. In fact, the term originated from the Italian word nipote, which means nephew, which we can say with a reference to the practice of Catholic popes and bishops bestowing privileges to their nephews who were more known than their illegitimate sons. Nepotism is considered as an unethical or morally wrong practice, which is discriminatory as well. However, there are various laws and regulations that prevents nepotism in various fields. Politics is an area where the effects of nepotism can have far-reaching consequences. It is also a field where it is quite easy to engage in this practice called nepotism. We have already seen many politicians doing that. Many times political dynasties are created through nepotism, where one family became the center of political power base for generations. We have already seen that in India too. Political nepotism has also the potential to spread through other fields, and how it is possible, let's take a look at that as well. Such as a politician offer a business contract to their own relatives or appoints them into other position for themselves of power, allowing relatives to exert influence in the name of politicians can also be considered as a form of nepotism.
Hello to everyone, my name is Shreya Pandey and I am going to tell you the reason of existence of nepotism in politics. Nepotism is something that is not being treated like the other forms of corruption. There are numerous reasons for that. First, it is not being considered as harmful enough issue or something which has been widespread and normalized in the society that we live in. Another factor that favors the existence of nepotism is that it is being treated like a gentle corruption. That means it does not strike one with a horror or seriousness of a bribe. After all, it has been expected to favor one's own family member or relative, especially in a society like India. There are many more reasons that favors the existence of nepotism, and eventually we cannot just blame the politicians because that is the societal structure that puts a lot of pressure to them to indulge in these kinds of activities rather to avoid it. In an ideal world where one's socio-economic background does not matter or is comparable to someone else, a world where there is nothing to gain by indulging themselves into an unethical practices, nepotism must have been an easily uprooted problem. But in a world of haves and have-nots, a world where every individual is in a race to prove themselves better, to come ahead of the peers, it is unrealistic to believe that they would not use everything at their disposal. This is precisely what makes nepotism a difficult problem. The people who have been indulging these does not do it to favor themselves, but is oftenly performed to benefit others. They could be their own child or a distant cousin's brother-in-law. Nepotism is a vicious cycle. It exists because the structure of the society allows it to exist. The most terrifying aspect of nepotism is that these problems are not immediately visible. One cannot say that a person is unsuitable for a job just because they have been hired by the sources. However, every 1 of 10 people have high chances of being unsuitable for a job. Thus, this problem cannot be said to be a singular problem. They should be treated like a web that extends and interconnects various other issues.
Hi, my name is Shreya and I'll be talking about nepotism in the Indian political scenario. The danger to nepotism becomes even more prevalent when we see that its practice is at its core. And it is not just an arbitrary discriminatory, it is also discriminatory to the minorities and the underrepresented people. Let's understand that what is this nepotism? Nepotism, this sort of nepotism is basically the hierarchy-based structure which is strongly tied to the caste system. Right? So basically it means that the people who are in power gets the benefits, or the people who are connected with the people in power gets the benefits eventually. So when we talk about this whole political nepotism, it says that, if a political hierarchy doesn't even want to have a change within, and if the whole idea belongs to the fact that the power should resort within the hands of few, then the underrepresented people remains underrepresented for eternity. Let's understand the importance of caste system. The caste discrimination. Caste discrimination is prevalent in our Indian society. It's been long times, even now we see caste discrimination happening. So earlier what used to happen, that the occupation of a person is, when we say that the occupation of a person was defined on the basis of, his or her caste, or was defined on the basis that what was the role of his father, then how can we really believe that the underrepresented people can ever get a chance? We all have somewhat, ingrained in our collective conscious of the masses. And the whole point is that no matter what, how much we say, but this is not just a practice, this is a way we live now. This is a way of life. Then in a society where the parents' occupation or the parents' stand in, the whole society defines an individual stand, it is very difficult to see a change. There is another, problem with the caste discrimination. This whole caste discrimination has somewhat led to the, the unequal distribution of wealth. And the curve is not flattened. In fact, the situation is such that this is just a rampant add-on to the caste discrimination. This whole unequal distribution of wealth. So it's just that it might be far-fetched to say that every politician just targets a particular specific group for their own benefits and just to make the individual person more prosperous and just to be in power. Or we can also say that these people are just the mere cogs of a very complex and very ancient engine which is designed to target some specific groups. And we can either say that this is an engine which is as complex and as massive that the sheer scale of it or even the existence of it is, it just remains hidden to the most.
Hello, this is Pranshi Mehrotra and I will be covering the genetics and the power of nepotism and politics. In the Indian political scenario, when one thinks of a political family-based party, the first name that one thinks of is the Indian National Congress. The Nehru-Gandhi family has been the de facto leaders of the INC since the time of the first Prime Minister of India, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. Rahul Gandhi, the current mascot of the dynasty, acknowledged the problem of nepotism and remarked, "My father was in politics, my grandmother and great-grandfather were in politics, so it was easy for me to enter politics. This is a problem. I am a symptom of this problem." However, according to the data, political dynasties aren't limited just to one prominent Indian family, nor is it just the national parties like INC or BJP that engage in it. Regional parties too are not innocent of blame when it comes to creating and fostering political dynasties and grooming the children of leaders to become leaders. Despite the lack of knowledge or experience, nepotism creates a situation where a political position becomes an inheritable title passed from parent to child. Merit is irrelevant, only genetics matter. That this tradition continues despite multiple cases of individuals forced to become politicians due to pressure from party members and ultimately failing shows how ingrained nepotism is in the collective physique as the natural order. The problem of nepotism is a complex and dynamic problem that requires much research to determine its effects. Especially in a country like India, this is a melting pot of different ideologies. What makes nepotism a strong unifying force, something that's stretched across cultural and linguistic borders to tie all Indians together in an inescapable web, is a question that has no easy answer. What one can be sure of is that the problem of nepotism in politics is not the real issue. The problem is that this nepotism affects governance and multiple other fields. Like the butterfly effect, one instance of nepotism ultimately results in a giant hurricane of corruption, from which there is no escape. Society needs to understand nepotism as a symptom of the underlying problems that fuel it. Of course, this does not mean that nepotism is not a problem. However, it is not the root cause. What is needed is a cultural and ideological evolution that snuffs out the flames that stoke the fire of nepotism. Thank you. For more latest updates on happenings around the world, keep watching Current Shurrent, and we will see you in the next video.